having, very interesting conversations this year, and I'm very, very happy about that. And I'm very happy to welcome back, but welcome back to like discussion wise, but interview YouTube wise, it's the first one. So welcome and welcome back, Sean, Artistic Director of Trinity Theatre Company. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Zero.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we had your first production of the year, the Cocktail Hour. So we had Gianni who directed that piece. That was like our first interview of the year. So we're very happy to continue this a couple, just a few months later.
Right.
So yeah, so for people that are not familiar or don't know a lot about Trinity, can you walk us through what it is, how old they are, and all that jazz?
Yeah, so Trinity Theatre Company was co-founded in 2012 by myself and a high school classmate. We did start the company as seniors at San Diego High School. Since we've really focused on our mission, which is to unify friends, family, and the community. The Trinity, the triquetra that we use, is an Irish symbol of unity, and so we're just hoping to bring everybody together as we come and create through live theater.
Oh, amazing! And then also, for our San Diegans and people also familiar to San Diego, you guys have a new home. Right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, it's been very exciting. We've loved all of the places that we've been up to this point, but we are so excited to finally be able to call a space in Mission Valley Mall our true home, and it feels really good to be there.
Yeah, it's a really cool space, and it's also awesome to go to the mall. I feel like these times where things are changing and malls are in a, I don't know, in a limbo-ish space, even though people are very happy going to malls and you see a lot of activity in the malls. So it's really cool to go to the mall, to go to the theater.
Well, and for us, it's really cool too, because we've worked so hard at making wonderful relationships with other theaters, but sometimes we can feel siloed as an arts and culture sector, and that's all we work with. But being in a mall, everyone's our partner. Every single person there has been a collaborator in some extent. Outback hosts cast parties for us. The gelato stand right in front of us provide gelato for special events, and of course, who doesn't want gelato right before or after the show, or even during intermission? Sandbox virtual realities right across the way. Our actors have a great time playing there. So really, everyone has become a partner that's within the mall, and we love that.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. Like seeing all the, the sides, the layers to it. That's really cool. And you also, the company opened their latest show this just past weekend, 35 millimeter. So can you tell us what it's about? Because it's based on pictures, right? So pictures, and then a story, and then like, how does that
I love 35 millimeter so much. I'm so grateful to be the director of the Trinity production for it. 35 millimeters, very real story. It is a song cycle based on the music of based on photographs. So Michael Murphy took a bunch of photos ranging from abstract, more traditional, and sends them to his friend Ryan Scott Oliver and says, turn these into songs. And so each photo or a series of photos inspires Ryan Scott Oliver to create this story based on one snippet in time. And then as we stage it, we look at the music, we look at the photograph, and then we say, well, okay, based on this, what story should we tell? So there's kind of a fun cycle of telephone that goes to telling this story. There's a fun realization that we don't actually know what the real story will ever be, because it's a photograph. It's one moment in time, and yet we can still spin it and cycle it, and it's just been such a fun creative journey for that way.
How long did this take, or how did you oh my God, I'm seeing this picture, me, like this song is kind of like how and then to stage it and cast it and then direct it, like how do those steps look like?
Oh, goodness. Well, so The 35 millimeter, I've known for several years. I had the privilege of music directing it over at the 10th Avenue Arts Center in about 2017,
Mhm.
so I've known him ever since. And when you're with that, you know, even if you're not actively working on it, when it comes up on your Spotify and you're listening to it, and like, I know this song, and it triggers those memories. There's some unintentional analysis that goes into
Mhm.
to the appreciation. Um, then once it really kind of came to us and said that we are going to do this as our show, that journey looks incredibly different, you know,
Yeah.
and you can only plan so much up till the point you haven't cast, and then everything that you've planned changes because now you're working with real people who have their own interpretation. And as it's just one of my philosophies. I believe that every actor should have a voice at the table. I want to collaborate. So I want to hear what their interpretations are and how we can synchronize the two values together.
How did people receive it this time around during the opening weekend?
Well, opening weekend was absolutely lovely. You know, it's a challenging show. The music is, you know, first off, there's no linear plot per se, right? It's a song cycle. So if you're trying to go in and see something that takes you from point A to point B and so forth, it can be kind of challenging.
Mhm.
But then once you appreciate what you're witnessing, that you're watching one art medium inspire another art medium, inspire another art medium, then it becomes a really exciting exploration. And I think our audiences really enjoyed that examination. I think my favorite piece, listening to audience feedback, is what resonates with different people. Not every person has the same favorite song. For some, it's Leave Luann. Some, it's Cut You a Piece. Some, it's Good Lady. You know, all these different songs for different people. And I'm like, well, yeah, we all have our own individual stories,
Mhm.
so we're going to resonate with different things. And
Mhm.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy that you bring it up because in this time where theater companies are looking for variety, let's say, or hybrid ways in their or shows in their season in order to keep the spark going, bring new audiences. But there are audiences sometimes, and it comes to this point where they're like, well, if there's no story, like, why isn't there a story? Like, what will you say to these people that are not as open, let's say, because they don't like grasp it and they're like, no, I do want point A to, point B and like have a resolution. And that's theater for me, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you know, that's, I love that question. And I think that absolutely has its place and should be celebrated. But it also shouldn't be everything, right? To me, what I really love about 35 millimeter is its abstract nuances.
Mhm.
You know, I love, I'm to myself a little bit here. I'm not much of a dancer at all, but I did choreograph a number of the songs in the show, and I was very active in, I want to imply meaning, but I don't want to tell you what the meaning is. Uh,
Mhm.
and I worked with many great choreographers to do it that way, and so I was inspired by their work, and I like that. And so, to me, 35 millimeter with that abstract piece is an opportunity for us to say, okay, well, let's redefine those opportunities. But it's, to me, they're not mutually exclusive, right? You can still appreciate
Mhm.
A, B, and linear plot. I do, but
Exactly.
you also appreciate sometimes being a little bit more creative in your own interpretations. I don't want to tell you exactly how you need to hear this song because you're going to hear it differently than I am.
Yeah. And on a super side note, and it does resonate because I remember the play, it's a play, yeah, the play Love Song. I saw it like, I don't know, 12 years ago, something like that, the first time, with a Mexican company in Spanish. And I was miserable at the time, right? I was miserable. I was going through a breakup, right? And that play, like, it just touched me. And I was like, oh my God. And it kept marinating in my brain and my heart at that time, for a while. And then they did it here in San Diego also like a couple of years ago, And I went and I saw it, obviously, like older, a decade later, like I'm married, I'm stable, whatever. And I didn't like it as much. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, I love this play, blah, blah, blah. And then I see it, I'm like, I don't remember feeling this way when I saw them. And it's about that, like the different stages in my life at that point, and like the play is the same. You know what
Right.
I mean? But
Right.
I received it totally different. And I love that, because that's what, expression and the arts are about. And it's exactly the same work, but it's like a different Alejandra. So it's like, so I love all that. And I
Well,
like, yeah.
yeah, please, I mean, and it's exciting for me too. Again, having been a music director for 35 millimeter in the past, where we had an amazing cast, and I loved the director's concept for the show. I thought that she was brilliant and inspiring in her own right. And then to come to the production 7 years later and try a completely different format, completely different cast. That production I think had about a dozen actors. This one has 5. She was very focused on dance. I'm not a dancer, so it's more movement. And so, and I think that there's something very cool just in the own artistic interpretations of the exact same work. And for me, what resonated intensely 7 years ago, not as much this cycle around. I still love every song in this show. Obviously, that's the joy of getting to direct it. But what was once like, oh, I love this song, I eat, breathe, and live this song, it's still a gorgeous song.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to this one now. I want to examine this one today.
Oh, oh my God. I can't wait. Cause as it's Sandy. Well, I think it's happening all over, but like the region right now, it has been, struck again by the COVID. So the theater community has been, rescheduling. And so it's like a little ripple effect. And I didn't have the opportunity to catch the show, but I will catch it this following weekend. So I'm very excited. And working with your brother, like,
Yes.
how is that? Like, he's part of the company, but then you're directing him on and you directed him on the other one. So how is that?
I am so fortunate. It's I think I have a really fantastic working relationship with my brother, and I think that my brother and my personal relationships have even improved over the past several years with Trinity. It's a beautiful thing, and actually, I had a couple of students come to see the show on Friday, and they asked the exact same question. I'm like, what's it like? Is he the hardest actor to work with? And
Exactly.
not at all. I think he and I have both built a level of trust in each other's capacities. I think he trusts me as a director, and I certainly trust him as a storyteller and as an actor. That makes it fun to create and examine. It's been, for me, it's been fun. It's my first time since COVID directing our grown-ups for a Trinity production. I've been so focused on the arts education and the kids and directing the kids, and I love that. But it's a different beast. So to kind of come back to the grown up stage 4 years later is exciting. And my wife teases me that I direct the exact same. She goes, she came to me through the room and she's like, "Oh, it's the exact same style. It doesn't matter who it's with." And I'm here for that. I see no problem with that at all. But it's because again, it all comes down to collaboration for me. I'll quickly ask an adult the same way I'll ask a kid. So what do you think in this moment? What is going on? What is your journey? How do you feel? And ask them for their feedback on their own work just as quickly. And that's how it is.
That's awesome. Yeah, we should do. Well, yeah, I would like to peek in on those processes, but with the kids. You know what I mean? It would be cool, because kids will tell you. Kids will tell it how it is. So it's always good also in an artistic context to see how they're receiving it and how they feel about that particular project.
I will never diminish the work of children's theater. I think that some of the best artists that I've worked with have been the children, and I'm here for it every single day. This summer was such a privilege for us at Trinity because we did Matilda Jr. with our kids, and then we did Legally Blonde Jr. with our teenagers, and then right into 35 millimeter. And so they were all back to back to back. They were in rehearsals at the same time, and I think that's why my wife was able to make that comparison, because she's watching them play out in real time, where the style is not the same, or the style is the exact same. The only thing that's different is who's in the room and what the scripts are. And so that's just a different approach to the analysis in that sense, but the process was the same.
That's awesome. And so going back to 35 millimeter, so it's opened this past weekend and it's running Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until the 25th, Sunday, August 25th. The whole, technical details, tickets, how do people get tickets? What's the range of the tickets? Are there any discounts or anything that people can get their hands on? How does that?
Yes, all of that. So all of our tickets are available on our website, which is www.trinityttc.org.
We're gonna put it over here so people can read.
Excellent. I love it. And the tickets start at all tickets are $25. We do offer discounts for students, seniors, military, senior, military, and educators.
Okay, cool.
And that's those are across the board. We also, and just very open, we never want the cost of a ticket to prevent somebody from coming to see the show. So if anyone needs ticket scholarship, they can email me directly. We'll find and we'll get you in. Those can be full ticket scholarships as well as partial ticket scholarships. Just email me and we'll get you into our seats.
Oh, amazing. And a tear is going like down my cheek when you say that there are discounts for educators, because I always like teachers, educators, teaching artists, everybody should, in that space should always be considered because
very much agreed.
The world would not be the same, and we need to really uplift and acknowledge and everything these people. So it's awesome that you offer that discount, because not everybody does. So that is amazing. And so again, it closes on the 25th, 35 millimeter. What is next for the rest of the year?
So actually this was the last show of our current season. So our 24-25 season, we just announced this weekend at the 35 millimeter opening. So I'm very excited, and it's all in the playbill. We are commissioning a new play called Living After Midnight. The show was submitted as part of our New Works Festival this last year. And so now we're bringing it to the full stage. Then we go into the Seussification of Romeo and Juliet, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is Romeo and Juliet told through Dr. Seuss rhyme.
Oh, no!
It is a delightful, fun, silly experience. It's still Romeo and Juliet. It's still that classic Shakespeare. But then it's just got that little zinger.
Oh my God.
We are doing our 3rd annual New Works Festival. And then we close our season with Monty Python's educational show, which we're very excited about. It's going to be a really fun season. These shows are delightful. They are our largest casts to date. All of our shows, we try to bring as many artists as we can together to come and create. We do a number of programs to celebrate new artists, but all of these shows have about a dozen different actors in them. So we're really excited to go big this year.
Wow, my God. I think that this year, I've never seen so much creativity with Shakespeare, from zombies to back-to-back nights, doing a 3-parter into 2 nights to now Dr. Seuss. My God, I can't.
I'm grateful, and I want to give a shout out to Ben Cole up at North Coast Repertory. Ben's a good friend of mine, and I've told him before, Shakespeare was not my jam at all, but then I befriended Ben, and Ben is such a Shakespeare nerd in just the most beautiful way. He can excite anybody about it, and so he has certainly inspired me
Exactly.
to kind of come and take a different approach to it, and I hope that I can just share just a piece of the same joy that Ben is able to share with his students and with his artists. I'm totally shouting him out for a second because he's very gifted at Shakespeare.
Oh, amazing. Oh, yeah. And I also forgot, speaking of shout outs, Sandra Ruiz, who also did Romeo y Julieta,
Yes.
bilingual, at over at San Diego at Southwestern College. So yeah, it's been pretty productive for Shakespeare in San Diego this year. So I can't wait. And again with Dr. Seuss in San Diego. So it's a whole like round experience. So that's awesome. Sean, in true from another zero tradition, we always ask our artists about their other zeros because obviously, and here obviously you don't just start from zero, you start from another zero. After your learning and your tools and everything, you just can't, it just can't be zero. So what are some of your other zeros?
It's gosh, I never discount how incredibly fortunate we are to be able to create in this city at all. We have an incredibly dynamic arts and culture scene, but Trinity's space, we were in a shoe store, that's what we've converted. And that privilege is never lost on me. So to everyone that creates with us, I'm so grateful. Both my wife and I are classroom teachers on top of everything we do with Trinity Theater. She teaches fourth grade, and this year I'm taking on a new foray into music education, which will be fun. I'm so used to teaching theater that teaching music is comparable but different, and still having that venue to create after school hours is important to our emotional well-being. And I'm grateful to our community that allows us the space to do that, and to those that feel welcomed enough to create with us.
Yeah, the emotional well-being, that is something that is so important and so crucial. And again, we need to say it more, and we need to activate all that because it does change. It changes perspectives, it changes decision making, it just moods, approaches. It's just so important. And that's also one of the many reasons why I'm still here because it is absolutely true. And it's not just this entertainment value. It's so much more, and it's so much deeper. So thank you for pointing that out because it is very important.
I know I sometimes geek out, but of course the Greeks had the term catharsis, and it's that emotional release. And I've tried to tie it recently more to the science, which is that the mirror neuron, which is this idea that we feel what we see. If we see our favorite soccer players get hurt, we feel physically hurt too. And I think that there's no better place to fully examine that than the theater. When we're watching somebody emotionally hurt, we feel the same emotional hurt, but same token, when we feel their hope, when we feel their optimism, when we feel their excitement, we do too. And that's the beauty of being an audience in live theater.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Olympics, like I cried every day. Like the first week, I'm like, I need to stop because I'm crying when seeing these, athletes at the podium for the first time, whatever, all the drama that's been happening. Just like, so yeah, it's absolutely true. And again, more people need to really take that plunge and experience it because, I think there's no wrong in this. Sean, I want to thank you. It's always lovely speaking with you and knowing about what's happening over at Trinity and everything, even like the physical space and what's happening in it and the location, all of that is really cool. Anything that we left, anything that you would like to add?
No, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you for having a platform to share and promote the arts. It's so valuable, and of course, you're just so delightful to talk to. I mean, I'm like looking up at the time that we spent together, and I didn't even notice because it just felt so fast. And I'm so grateful to you. So thank you, Alejandra.
Yeah, me too. So everything, like best of success with everything that's happening again with the Romeo and Juliet. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Maybe we can revisit when the time comes. And everybody, don't waste the opportunity. Catch 35 millimeter. Go check it out. All the information is going to be on here until August 25th, and then check out their website to see what they have coming. Support. Why not? And remember, they're here. We just don't start from zero. We start from another zero. So until the next one, bye.